Good morning and a happy Tuesday to you folks. It is a gorgeous day today, a beautiful day today, and it is a day for me. I am going to start embracing the little things in life. How often do we say it's the little things in life that matter? Well, this is a great day to start appreciating every good thing in life and recognize that there is nothing too small for me to be thankful for. Even something as simple as your food delivery order had plates and silverware. The gas station had towels and water for the window wash area. And the pizza place down the street still has the sit-down Ms. Pac-Man machine. All right, now that's a big thing, but you get the point, folks. Now let's get this Tuesday started because it is a gorgeous Tuesday, folks. Hiya!
It's time to play hard, work hard. Now, let's play hard.
Tuesday to you folks, coming to you live from the road here today. No morning show partner today as I'm all by myself. Still traveling, making my way back to the Basin, North Dakota, if you will. Rocky Mountain region. Look at us just getting more existential here by the moment because we are existential energy here at the Crude Life Morning Show. Play hard, work hard. We got a fabulous show in store for you today. More interviews from the Permian Basin Association of Pipeliners annual Cookoff. We've got a couple lined up for you today. And then in the second half, we're going to talk a little bit about salt water spills. The reporter for the Dickinson Press is going to join us in the second half on a story he went to where there's a gentleman going around the Basin at Dickinson State University, and gave a presentation to the kids about how oil and gas companies are spilling salt water into the soil and not recording it, and the state needs to get a better handle on it, something along those lines. So we brought him in to find out a little bit more about that specific issue and why this gentleman is going around the state. Coming up in the work hard portion of the program. But first, let's get Shawn Forbes in here from OG Directory and Team Forbes. Let's get down to the Permian Basin in Midland, Texas. Actually, in Odessa, Texas. I always say Midland, Odessa. Sometimes I speak before I think. That is when I get in trouble. That I've learned in my life. Oh yeah, not going to make that mistake again this week. Okay, folks, let's hand it off to Shawn Forbes, Jason Spiess, the Permian Basin Association of Pipeliners annual Cookoff. But first, we got to take a brief pause when we come back. Some more reindeer games right here. Oh, March Madness, too. By the way, folks, March Madness coming up.
Interested in becoming a sponsor? Email studio@thecrudelife.com. The music heard on the Crude Life Morning Show, Play Hard, Work Hard, is by the Moody River Band. Crude Life, Play Hard, Work Hard is sponsored in part by
Blackwater Environmental is a family-owned company with over 10 years of on-site industrial experience, offering inspections, consulting, coating failure analysis, specification writing, and coating application services, along with many other services for energy, oil, gas, and municipalities. Blackwater Environmental was started in Moorcraft, Wyoming, but has grown to a larger facility in Gillette, Wyoming, where they provide a better quality of service for their customers. For more information on Blackwater Environmental, check out their website, BlackwaterEnviro.com. That's BlackwaterEnviro.com.
The Crude Life. Play hard, work hard. Is sponsored in part by
Great American Mining monetizes wasted, stranded, and undervalued gas throughout the oil and gas industry by using it as a power generation source for Bitcoin mining. Great American Mining Company brings the market and their expertise to the molecule. Their solutions make producers more efficient and profitable while helping reduce flaring and venting throughout the oil and gas value chain. And if you're a mineral owner, check out how much Bitcoin you could be making right now with your valued gas. Go to GAM.ai. That's Great American Mining, GAM.ai.
the Industrial Forest.
It takes an industry to build a forest. Hey folks, Jason Spiess with The Crude Life. Did you know about half the trees planted in the last 20 to 30 years have died within the first year? Lack of watering, transplant shock, special interest groups, poor growing conditions are just a few reasons it takes an industry to build a forest, and that is exactly what the industrial forest does. Sustainability sheds, critical pipeline systems are implemented to ensure the forest survives and absorbs carbon for decades to come. It takes an industry to build a forest. If you're interested in sustainable forests, growing industry jobs, check out theindustrialforest.com. That's theindustrialforest.com.
Play hard, work hard. Now, let's play hard.
Welcome back to the Crude Life Show. This is the Play Hard, Work Hard. I am Shawn Forbes with TeamForbes.com and OGDirectory.com. Jason Spiess is my co-host today. We're now talking to...
Thank you for having me today.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your involvement in this amazing Permian Basin Association Pipeliners annual Cookoff. There have been amazing barbecue here today. It's been sunny. I've got a sunburn and like vitamin D, as we like to call it. And speaking
no rickets here.
And speaking of D, we have D here from Alpha Industrial.
Shame on me for ruining that transition. Well, you had that one like planned and everything.
Segue. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm good. I think you've been my favorite person here today.
It's because you put a sticker on the back of my calf.
Well, because you wore shorts today, and it's the beginning of March, and it's supposed to be spring. You know,
well,
like maybe late winter.
5 years in North Dakota, so this really doesn't bother me.
Oh, so you feel like this is summertime weather to you?
I did put a pretty shirt on though.
I feel we should specify the shorts because they're like basketball shorts.
Well, no, they're Aeropostale, so it's like a teenage brand shorts, and he's pulling it off.
Collared shirt.
Well, I look like I'm 12 anyway.
With a hat on.
Yeah.
I mean, you got all kinds of
You do enough of these events.
On,
I mean, I've been with the Pipeliners for 3 years, and I just show up, and they're just like, oh, D, do this, D, do that, do this. So I quit dressing up. I gave up on that a long time ago.
D, what's the name of your company? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Alpha Industrial.
Alpha Industrial.
Yes, sir.
And what does that do?
We specialize in fabrication.
Okay.
So anywhere from welding stainless steel to cattle guards, and then we have a side hot shot, and then we've been
field fabrication, like mechanical construction.
Yes, ma'am. We'll send our welders out.
Do you do skids? Do you guys
do
skids? What kind of skids?
Just depending. Like we're doing compressors right now for Chevron. Okay. We just signed with them. Of course, the wind's got to blow. Awesome. But yeah, no, we kind of just do a number of things, but like I said, mostly fabrication.
You said saltwater disposal facilities.
Yes, ma'am.
You all do the mechanical construction, welding for those types of things. And what basin are you guys focused in?
They're based out here in the Permian, but like Eagle Ford a little bit, not so much. This last year's really took a toll on everybody, I believe. Did you catch one in the face?
I think something just slapped me in my chest.
Okay.
The wind's blowing.
Sorry, that was me.
Oh, whoops. Might have been one of them stickers that you stuck on the back of my leg.
It is one of my stickers. And some other koozie that's not important right now.
Karma.
It's fine.
Karma.
So, where are you from?
I'm actually from Henrietta, Texas.
Henrietta, Texas.
What
brought you to North Dakota? when you were up in North Dakota?
Well, I got back from Nigeria, Africa.
Okay, let's
doing
rewind
what? What
here.
were you doing
Okay.
there?
I was testing Bonnie Light crude oil.
So you graduated high school, then what? Let's start there.
Went to Tech.
Okay,
Went
Texas
from
Tech?
that- yes, sir.
Red Raider?
Oh, Red Raider. Yes,
Good.
sorry. Apparently my mouth wasn't close enough to the mic. But anyway, I went to Tech and then went to EMT firefighter school and decided that was not going to pay the bills.
You know, can I say something real quick? You know, you see this blanket I have here?
Yes, sir.
This was given to me by firefighters because we're big advocates for firefighters because
Absolutely.
85% are volunteer.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, it might even be 90%. But I mean, not to get political, but I'm going to. I can't believe we send as much money as we do overseas when we've got 85% of our firefighters on volunteer.
And most of them are filing for grants to
Totally.
just to get trucks.
And if you take away the oil and gas industry, there goes about 50% of your volunteer firefighters' funds, if
Yes,
not
sir.
90%.
Yes, sir.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm a big advocate for firefighters.
Me too.
I mean,
Me
they're
too. I had my EMT license. I got my fire certification.
EMT, same thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Emergency responders is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. No, I appreciate.
Okay, so you found out there's no bills in emergency responders.
There was,
Okay.
when I got my EMT basic and was going for my intermediate and was looking at getting my paramedic, I was like, they make $10 an hour.
All right, no money helping people. What do we got next?
What's next in the field? And I had a cousin who. Let's just say he wasn't the smartest. He went to work on a drilling rig and he was making $80,000 a year. So I was like,
Smart as a fox sounds to me.
There's something to that. Right?
Someone started working on a Kelly rig, Swanson rig, 1974 Swanson Kelly rig, throwing chain.
Wow. Slinging chains.
Yeah.
Boy, you're old school.
Oh yeah.
So you're a field guy.
I was not no more.
I would claim that still. Like, I'm a field guy.
Don't
therefore,
think I won't jump on
I
a
know.
rig in a heartbeat. I'll throw slips. I'll throw tongues in a heartbeat.
Yeah. But
not
I
for very long.
love people that worked in the field and then transitioned to either a selling opportunity or a project management position where not only are they kind of managing the project, but they know how the project should be run.
Yes, ma'am.
And built. So I appreciate that.
That's kind of one of my theories is since I've kind of taken over as a business development manager, I won't ask one of my guys to do something that I ain't done 15 times plus. That's it's just my rule of thumb. You know, from the loader, putting it on a trailer, hauling something. You know, I had a Class A CDL, hazmat, triples, doubles. I did all that. I skated on ice up in North Dakota forever with a winch truck. I've worked on drilling rigs. Every frac you can think of from here to Colorado to Texas. So it's I don't know, it's a rough game and it's a rough life. I wouldn't encourage it for most people. But, you know, it takes a certain person to do this job and not everyone can do an oil and gas job. Yeah.
You know, people think, oh, big money, big oil and gas money, but
it
there's
is,
a lot of
it's up and down.
It's up and down. It's volatile. There's a lot of risk associated with the things that we do. It's very dangerous. It's high stake.
And it is. And I mean, I've lost a lot. You know, friends. We got a divorce. But I mean, me and my ex-wife are still best friends.
But it just takes a toll on you personally, the job.
You know, didn't like the fact that I was gone 3-4 months. You know, didn't know when I was coming back. Everybody was going to come back.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's that whole side.
There's sacrifice
associated
with this job, too.
I mean, you never know when you're on these roads, man. It's from New Mexico to here to Williston, North Dakota to Denver, Colorado.
You mentioned you lived in Watford City, and that was during the before
boom.
the bypass years, before the traffic, the bad traffic years is what I'm getting at.
The whole one lane all the way to Williston, North Dakota, that took 3 hours to take a frac tank.
White knuckle driving the whole time. This is no shit. Okay, when I first went out to the Bakken, I went out with the owners of Max Hardware. Remember Max Hardware?
Yes, sir.
So it was the owners, and they wanted to get a bird's eye view, too, before they reinvested out there and everything. So we went out there, and on Highway 22, okay right outside of Dickinson, North Dakota, which is right off that's not even the busy part.
Which, isn't it crazy how the hour changes when you hit Dickinson?
Yeah, it's weird. In fact, there's a gal who lost her election because she endorsed the time change, and it backfired on her. It's like the most ridiculous local election politics ever.
Yeah.
So we got out there, and this was, back when, 5,000 cars were driving by every 10 minutes type thing. And that was a real number.
Yeah, no, it really was.
And we made it 7 miles. I don't even know if we got to the Dunn County line, okay?
Uh-huh.
We made it 7 miles from Max Hardware in Dickinson, North Dakota on Highway 22. And we looked at each other and we went, let's turn around. This is not safe. I mean, we're here like looking at animals at the zoo. We have no business being here, and so for our safety, we actually turned back and drove back to Dickinson because we got the picture. There's way more than what, so down here, there's a lot of that still down here. There's a lot of still because the activity's so high and things. And you go to, Highway 75 from Kansas, holy crap, man.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of semis, which is a good sign. But at the same time,
it's sketchy.
You got to know how to drive.
I've driven them all.
So I do want to ask you, though, you mentioned sling and chains. And one of the articles that we did probably year 2 or 3 was the transition away from the guys slinging chains into more of the modern,
so when
technology.
When you're making a connection, you would slap a chain, sling a chain.
Talking about drill pipe.
Yes. Okay. Sorry.
No. Go, yeah.
Yeah. So your older rigs. That's how you'd make your connection.
Yep.
When you'd Kelly up, come in, slap your chain, pull, tongs hit.
Right.
But now all your top drives have everything's about hydraulic now. Most of the guys. Okay. So I'm afraid of heights. And so I made Motorman, and I went to go make Derrick's, and that's, the dude that's up there.
150 feet up, changing the 50 feet up or whatever.
It's a very small platform, let's just say.
And you're taking that pipe and you're throwing them in the fingers.
Right.
I made it all
in 70 mile an hour wind in North Dakota.
And it's cold and dangerous.
So
right?
I come back down on you got a little guided wire behind you. I made it back down, and the driller goes, D, what are you doing? My knees are knocking. I can't do that. And he goes, well, you have to work Derrick's before you can become a driller. I said, well, it looks like I need to find a new job. So I went into fracking.
Well, what I found was that when I got into publishing, for example, that's what I came from.
Yes, sir.
I learned on light tables. Okay, the very last year and a half to 2 years, they were just getting out of laying out magazines on light tables. Okay. Mm-hmm. To go to actual computer software, because still some of the printing presses were a little bit old school. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know the print process.
So you know what I'm talking about.
The light tables, the layout, the setup, then you do the plates.
Right, you do plates and things like that.
And the plate goes on the print press.
Dude, this was a process.
Yeah.
And what happened is when you ushered in the technology, it streamlined it, opened up all this time. But I was so appreciative that I understood the basics. It helped me understand the new technology better than anybody that came in without having that couple years of the old school mentality. Did that happen with you at all with the sling and chains, or is the technology so different that...
No, because you knew the manual process, so when it became automated... Are you hey, guys that are doing the automation process, this is how we did it back in the day when we did it?
Talk to the older generation, like some of your older company men, you won't hear me talk, and I'm a chatty Cathy. I'll just sit and listen to their stories. But everything, these H&P walking rigs, it's changed so much that nobody really knows. I mean, I've got a flowback company to plumb bob a tank. He has no idea how to actually take a physical plumb bob and check the oil and water out of a tank battery, because it's all done digitally on a computer screen for him.
He just knows how to check the monitor.
All he knows how to do is check the monitor.
But if the system shut down and you had to do it manually,
then he calls my fat butt to come out there and help him out.
Right.
I've actually wondered that about doctors.
Yeah.
They do so much robotic surgery. Can they even do a surgery now?
Right.
And no offense to the doctors, it's just the way the modern day is.
It's like anything, like electricity, water. It's going to take the least of resistance, that's where everybody goes. It's easier to do it this way than that way. But that's how I started out.
I found it gave me a leg up because the newer generation had no idea how the basic core or the basic building blocks worked, whereas for me, that's what I learned. So It was just so natural. Well, they're still figuring it out. I'm already there.
Yeah. I get that. And then the thing is too, it's I was born in 84. I learned all this back in 06, 07. I don't know what they did before then. I just know what I was taught.
Yeah.
So that there might be some other new or not old age that's, different than I know.
No, it's all valuable knowledge, though. I mean, we can't lose sight of what people have learned over the years, even though, technology has evolved and we have new ways to do things. Like that old school mentality, I feel like somehow they need to bottle that and put that into a technology and software, but you just can't.
Yeah.
It's just knowledge and know-how.
I have this weird personality where when I go eat at a restaurant, I just try to figure out how to make the meal as I'm eating it. And I just wonder how much of that is just if there's anybody like that anymore. You know what I mean? Because
there's another dog out here, and Freckleberry Hound is getting all excited.
I will tell you this though, we're getting into we're getting close to the factor where the old generation's about to wash out. Not wash out, but it's
Sean,
just
take over.
They a lot of the older generation that I've worked with for the past decade, they're about to cash out. Like and I hate it.
No,
because you've got these.
Yeah, because they're gonna bring in some 20-something-year-olds and pay them, a fraction of the cost of these old timers, but you're losing the value of these old timers and their knowledge, and it's a sad thing, especially in the pandemic, where a lot of companies unfortunately have had to lay a lot of people off.
Yeah,
and now there's a huge amount of people that are looking for jobs, and so companies are taking advantage of that, and now they want to lowball people and bring them in at a lower rate, but they're not going to be satisfied with their job, and they're just losing out on.
The only thing that scares me is, so I've taken guys out in the field, I've trained, I've helped out, I have every certification you can think of as safety-wise with OSHA, so there's things that I pick up on that I see, and they're just bliss too. Like if that monitor doesn't tell them.
You're talking about younger folks coming in?
People that come into the field that are like, well, it didn't say
not
there was a
not
leak.
That there's not
And
a
I'm
market
like,
for younger people.
You didn't hear it?
Yeah.
You didn't hear that gas leak. Well, my monitor didn't go off. Screw your monitor, dude. Like, you did not hear that, and you're over there playing on your cell phone.
There's an awareness.
Can I interrupt? Because I'm not sure how we got into this conversation because Frackleberry Hound's busy with a climate activist, but I really enjoy this conversation because there's a real lack of accountability coming in where people are expecting the computer or the government or some just omnipotent form of authority to tell them what to do. Mm-hmm. And this whole just common sense, let's just call it that.
I was going to say lack of common sense.
It's just gone because your example is right. Like, well, if this thing tells me, if the computer says it's not a leak, well, then it's not a leak.
Well,
can you see it coming out in front of you?
Yeah, did you not hear it? Because I saw it in your Snapchat, buddy.
Right.
Yeah, it's
your Snapchat said, look at this stupid pipe leaking.
Get away.
Well, earlier we were talking to someone and they were talking about, hey, we brought on this guy who had this certification and it was all like book smarts, but he didn't know how to actually do the act of like welding in the field.
I learned this a long time ago from a paramedic. He said, you can sit in the schoolhouse all day until you're in the field, till you've been beat, till you've been cut, till you've been bruised. You've been slapped.
You have zero experience until you've experienced
it.
That book
doesn't do anything but give you just a little bit of education.
Yep.
I've been through up, I've been through down, I've been through just about everything you think of. Until you've actually been in that negative 50 weather, until you've been in that 120 degree weather. I mean, everything that you can think of, unless you've been there and done it, you don't know.
Yeah.
And then it's the thing that you send these guys to these schools, and I'm not trying to bring any engineer down or whatever. They're smarter than I am. But I promise you in that field, when shit goes awry, I'll be the guy that'll be the one that saves the day on the, when I'm like, hey, that's a leak in the pipe, you're not checking your PSI. Like, what the hell are you doing? And all these youngsters are just like, well, my phone didn't say nothing. I downloaded the app. And I'm like, screw that app, dude.
Oh, you're scaring me right now, man.
No, so there's something to say for technology, but actual field experience is priceless.
It is. Right? It is. and I tell every one of the young guys, and we call them green hats.
Greenheads?
Green hats.
Green hats. So
Green
they wear,
hats.
a hard hat
The new
that's
guy.
green.
Green hats, yeah.
Anytime that you get the opportunity to get around an old man that's got 10 plus years in the field, listen to what he's been through.
Is that all it takes to be an old man is 10 plus years?
Well, I'm just saying in the oil field,
No, that's okay. You
Maybe
can
more than 10
maybe
years.
in 10. I don't know.
Maybe more than 10
More than
years.
6 months, and most of these guys that come up
But-
here, because
but like
everybody
you're-
comes
but-
up here thinking they're going to make $1 million,
Yeah.
and then they end up losing a hand, and then then they're on unemployment
Yeah.
Right. No.
because they
and-
didn't listen.
Yeah.
I
no,
have
but
all my fingers, and I've been throwing chains and slips for 18 years.
I would say anyone who's worked in the field for any number of years doing anything, anyone coming on, it's like, don't put your pride in the way of your education
And
to
that's-
learn from people who have actual experience, because there's people that come on with bachelor's degrees and master's degrees, and there's guys who work in the oil field who have no college education, and they are the most technically experienced people you will ever meet. And so it's like there's definitely something to say for
Absolutely.
these guys,
Absolutely.
like
I
you
had
can
a-
learn a lot from them.
So a funny thing talking about old men, I had a dude in Denver, Colorado. He owns Helipile. Doesn't have a high school diploma. He's a millionaire, owns his own jet. And I've just started getting into the business development role, learning that side, getting a little old to me jumping on rigs and throwing hoses and, chains and stuff. And he said, son, I like your attitude. You're a good guy. He said, but if you can't bedazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit. And that's another old man trick that just another.
It's an old man trick and a sales trick, but you also have to know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I'm like, as a procurement person, if I know what I'm talking about and you don't know what you're talking about,
Well, I mean that's
come on,
yeah.
come on.
You know what I tell people? All it takes to be is blah blah blah. All it takes to be
get
a
it there, Bo?
genius is blah blah blah. Right? We need a sounder drop. All it takes to be a genius is know 1% more than the person sitting next to you.
See,
That's
solid.
right.
Yep.
That's right. Or it's always okay to admit that you don't know, and you will find out and report back immediately with an answer. Right?
Oh,
like
absolutely.
immediately. Yeah. Like don't bullshit a bullshitter.
Well, you just got.
But you find out, you just say, hey, I'm not sure what the answer is to that, but I'm going to go find out, and I will let you know immediately.
Can I peel your sticker off my calf now?
No. So D over here has been a walking billboard for me. His
Making a white joke.
his legs are have lacked a little bit of sun for a little while, so they're very brilliant in their color. And then, like, his calves are stupendous. So he's been a walking billboard for a sticker, a TeamForbes.com sticker.
I noticed you're trying to become the new gnome in the oil patch, getting people taking pictures of your face all over the place. I got a picture texted me earlier, some girl that went into Starbucks and put her Starbucks around the can koozie. So apparently it works outside of beer and get a beer. And
Yeah, I mean, it's just, an iconic thing.
You're killing it. And it's on my calf.
It's ridiculous. And
fun.
and incredible all at
It's
the same
campy
time.
and fun, and it's it is ridiculous. It's redunculous,
It
It's
is.
ridiculous.
And
which makes me think of a ridiculous donkey.
and I haven't even told the
Donkey.
story. I haven't even told the story about how the whole Team Forbes sticker of my face came about, but we'll talk about that at another time.
Okay, whatever we got plenty of time. But
Well, hey guys, I do want to thank y'all so much for coming out here to the Pipeliners.
hey, by the way, where are you at? Where were you at in North Dakota? We never talked about that. Just real quick.
I started in Watford, and then I moved to Williston, and then our continental fracs were anywhere from Newtown,
Okay.
Dickinson, Killdeer, around that area. I think we did a little in South Dakota, not much. I think we did one Poseidon there.
A little bit in the Tyler, I suppose, in that. Yeah, just to cap
wasn't
it.
much.
Yeah.
We were doing some containments down there.
So, how long were you in North Dakota then?
Almost 5.5 years.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to check out. We got.
It was almost like a prison sentence.
Oh no, North Dakota is a tough. I just said it. I just said it with an accent.
You did. You said North Dakota.
North
You've
Dakota.
been hanging out with me too long, girl.
North Dakota. Okay,
I need to
hold
hang
on.
out in Colorado.
North-
with
Oh,
that
don't
accent.
you know?
Hold on. North Dakota
About?
is a treacherous environment in the wintertime to work. I mean, I remember one time I was there and I was looking for a bunch of stainless fittings that a vendor sent, and I told them, send it here to this one location, and it ended up in 5 different locations. It went to my fab shop, it went to a drilling rig, it went to a saltwater disposal facility. And so I was out there and it was -15 and blowing snow. And I was so angry because
whiteout?
It makes you angry.
no, it makes me angry because,
Yes.
and then, so I'm just like, I'll be in the truck, like,
yourself.
where it's warm. No, but then I went to the vendor and I said, you come out here and you find this
That's
stuff
exactly
because this
right.
is inappropriate for me to have to go look for this stuff when I told you exactly where you needed to deliver it. But it also gave me a huge appreciation for the men and women in our industry who work out in that basin because it is treacherous.
Oh,
You
yeah.
imagine?
It is treacherous. I mean, and I was only out there for maybe 30 minutes, but I can't imagine day after day after day after day just being out there, and then there's just like little trash cans with fires, and that's the only warmth that they have to just warm up for 10
Oh,
minutes,
I've
and then
seen-
it's like, go back to work.
Could you imagine?
No,
though,
I
if,
can't.
If in a school, in all seriousness, so when I went and toured my first rig ever, and what, you're 50 feet up in the air and you got to put it on there?
Oh,
So-
you're talking about your casing coming down in from
Casey,
the
thank
drilling.
you.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I was on a different
I've had a
page.
little bit too much myself.
Oh, Chardonnay, huh?
So, well,
Maybe had a few of it, huh?
I mean, it's very refreshing. Don't like hate on the Chardonnay.
when I first went there and I saw them putting those, so when I saw them 50 feet up in the air, and all I could think of was the blowing wind in the cold and everything else like that. Going, that's what they should be showing kids on how their light switches turn on.
Yeah.
To be like, could you imagine if schools actually said, well, this is going to be interesting, if schools actually showed that instead of all the other stuff to just to
No, they
educate.
talk about big oil, big
That's
oil.
what I mean. Instead of showing the
Yeah.
smokestacks all the
But
time.
it's like, look at the people
Show the
who actually
sacrifice.
work outside to bring energy to our homes,
I can't-
what they have to go through to get that energy.
Tell you how many swampers that's worked with me that I've literally said get in the truck because their eyelids were frozen, like you could just see the
Yeah.
crystals,
The frost on their
and
face.
I'm like, dude, get in the truck, like stop. Like, no, I'm good, D. I'm good, D. I'm like, no, you're not. Get in the
You have
truck and thaw
hypothermia.
out.
you don't know what frostbite means,
yeah.
but
because
your finger will pop off in a second.
At a point, you don't feel nothing.
No, that's what I mean.
And I've been there. I've been there, helping out building dikes and stuff that I've like, man, I'm good. And, I've had a supervisor come to me and be like, D, get in the truck. Like, you're purple. Yeah, it's
And then we did a story about how when North Dakota, it was the 6th coldest winter, I think it was 2016,
I was there.
on record. And
I was there.
I was there.
I was there too.
what put
what
it
I'm
in
talking
perspective
about.
for me was that I interviewed truckers that their diesel trucks were gelling up and stalling
yeah.
on the interstate.
Yeah.
That's how cold it was.
We would have to sit there and regen on a high rate so our RPMs would kick up on our trucks so we could just keep it hot enough to go because we didn't have a one of those hot plug-in things, under
the
it.
plugs.
So we would just keep it on the highest regen level we could so it just hopefully not.
That would marvel me, though. Like, okay, an engine is pretty hot. Like, you can cook eggs on an engine normally, okay? It's
Yeah.
pretty hot. And the engine's next to all the stuff in your car. And that didn't even keep it warm enough.
I seen in North Dakota a couple Kenworths and Peterbilts that ran for about 3.5 months and never turned off. Even when the mechanics worked on them, they did not turn them off.
I have friends that when the winter starts, their diesel's on, and then at the end of the winter, their diesel turns off. But if it's in their driveway, out in the parking lot, at Walmart, wherever it is, they just keep it running all winter long because play the numbers. It's much easier that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a boss one time when I first went to North Dakota. He said work had gotten slow for a little bit, and we were water hauling. And he said, hey, D, you want to get a few extra hours? I said, yeah, sure. What do you need, boss? he said, we need to start filling the trucks up, get them full of diesel, because, I mean, they same thing, just running all night, all day long until we caught another job. That's all right, boss. So, I mean, I just got a pair of breeches, boots, threw a jacket on because the truck's been running, so I'm literally walking out of the man camp to the truck. Excuse me, sorry. I get to the gas station at Watford, and he calls me and says, hey, we got a job. Dude, I don't have any FR clothing. I don't have none of my winter gear on. But I can't be a sissy. So I'm like, all right, man. Yeah, I'll go do it. So I'm going to this drilling rig, and I'm sucking all this water off of. And boss shows up, and he's like, Jesus, D, what are you wearing? I said, man, this is all I had, dude. And I was freezing. He goes, D, if that truck went down, you could die. I go, what do you mean I could die? He goes, it takes 30 minutes in this cold weather for your body to shut down. I said, there's 200 gallons of diesel in that truck that I can set on fire. So you can pick me up or the fire department can pick me up. Which one you want, cowboy?
It's got to get done.
It's all about choices.
I ain't losing this fat kid. Not today, sir. Not today.
You got a little insulation.
Yeah, well, for 30 minutes, supposedly.
All right, what's the website again?
alphaindustrial.com.
All right, see pop quizzes here at the Crude Life.
Yeah.
D, what's your real name?
Dylan.
Dylan?
Yes, ma'am. Nobody can pronounce
Meharg.
that.
Dylan.
Nobody can pronounce Dylan. They call me Delwyn.
Dylan?
But I've been D since like second grade.
What's your email address?
D@alphaindustrial.com.
And your phone number?
940-867-2655.
All right, we'll be back, folks.
Later.
Well, she's domesticated, knows how to use a mop and broom. She got 20 different flowers in her hair. Yeah, all in and rubbed off on her dress. She works to live and don't live to work. We talked about how there's nothing like the earth, how the universe goes on for never-ending miles.
Interested in becoming a sponsor? Email studio@thecrudelife.com. The music heard on the Crude Life Morning Show, Play Hard, Work Hard, is by the Moody River Band.
Well, she wants to live a life and happiness non-stop. Well, there's moss growing all over the rocks.
The Crude Life with host Jason Spiess.
So there's still people without power as of this morning.
You know, right now I think there's very limited driving out there in West Texas. They're generating about 5% of the power today in Texas.
Sensitive microphone because I just poured a glass of water because we don't have running water here yet. I mean, this has been a very trying week for a lot of people across the state of Texas. There are, and let me just say this, I'm sorry that so many Texans were let down by their grid.
On the phone, talking with us today, Chairman Christy Craddock of the Texas Railroad Commission.
We have roughly 470,000 miles of interstate and intrastate pipelines in Texas, and roughly another 500,000 miles of gas utilities lines in Texas. So we have a lot of, and gathering lines are in that 470,000 miles as well. So we have a lot of pipe in Texas. We're the largest pipe state by a sixth.
It is a very challenging day in Texas right now. The grid operator is projecting that nearly 3 million homes in Texas are without power today, and there's...
It's already snowing here in Lubbock again. I mean, I thought it was supposed to be sunny today.
So I'm from Odessa, and that's a big part of my district, but I also represent, in addition to Ector County, 3 other counties in the Permian Basin. So Andrews County, Ector County, Ward County, and Winkler County, but all in West Texas, all in the middle of the oil patch.
You know, when they close the roads down, we can't transport those materials.
And so we can't get the product to where it needs to go to get refined so that we can either, one, heat our homes, or two, have fuel for our vehicles. With pipelines, that doesn't really come into effect. Once the pipelines are laid, not much can stop that crude oil or natural gas from getting from point A to point B.
They are so far behind the curve on getting this storage, the battery storage, in place to even be able to handle the most minute degree of storage for a case like what happened in Texas. And now there's going to be a spotlight on that.
And just an incredible impact. We saw nearly 30 gigawatts come offline yesterday.
Half the lodge went without water since Saturday.
On Friday, the Railroad Commission took quick action. And I know you recently had Chairman Craddock on.
We'll have water for until 5 p.m. and then we'll be off again for the night.
On Friday, I sent a letter asking the Public Utilities Commission of Texas to rescind its order authorizing these generators or these providers to increase the rates.
I don't know that's true, but I don't think I'd want to be in a hospital in Dallas, Texas on life support and know that wind energy is going to be my source of keeping that machine running, right?
JP Warren reporting from Houston, Texas at 9:12 a.m. I don't even know what day it is right now. I think it's Wednesday. We ran out of water yesterday.
I've had maybe 3 hours of sleep in 3 days.
Play hard, work hard. Now, let's play hard.
This is Shawn Forbes. Welcome back to the Crude Life. Play hard, work hard.
Morning show.
Morning show. I have Jason Spiess as my co-host today. We have Derrick
Clark.
With
Epic Site Solutions out of Odessa,
Thank you for having us here today.
Of course. And you know what? I want to say thank you for making the trip down from North Dakota.
And Colorado.
Shout out to CO. To West Texas. It's dirty, it's windy, it's oil filled, and you know what? It's heaven for the rest of us.
We've had 4 different seasons this morning already.
Amen to that.
The only thing we didn't have, I guess, was snow, but we did have some pretty cold mornings,
Yes,
and then it was very nice. Shawn Forbes has gone through 3 different colors here.
I went from wearing a jacket to tank top to
sexy, sophisticated, sunburned.
Nothing. Just kidding.
Well, it got hot around 3 o'clock. I saw it. I was a witness.
Very sunburned.
I have a sunburn, which I'm so excited about because
I think we're all sunburned.
Yeah.
Actually, if you look at us, we are all a little red.
We are sunburned, and now we're all, at least 2 of the 3 are wearing hooded sweatshirts or some sort of clothing. You've got the sophisticated jacket on.
I'm very hairy, so I've got a built-in insulation over here.
Thank you for inviting us down here. The Permian Basin Association of Pipeliners. First of all, just a quick 30-second, a minute version of what that is.
So we are a nonprofit organization. We've got branches all over Texas, Oklahoma. We're widespread, but our goal is to raise funds for scholarship kids in the STEM and trade schools.
STEM.
Yes.
Big push in STEM coming up.
Hey, well, you know what? It's that next set of oil and gas that we're here to support. There's a lot of talent in the world who might not be able to support themselves through college.
STEM is actually really helping the 2-year schools reinvent their identity,
Well, we talked about it on your previous one,
Mhm.
Jason, where it was trade schools are making a big push, right?
Yep.
So in my generation, I'm 30, right? We were told, go to college, you want to be successful.
4-year degree. 4-year degree.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I call BS on it because...
Same.
Bullshit degree.
Yeah, hey, I'm not allowed to say that on here. I call bullshit, right? I've got a BS, so I call bullshit with it. So,
Well, it's like learn a trade.
Well,
that sought after skilled trade.
Right, and so I'm a big advocate for trade schools: plumbers, electricians, welders, pipe fitters, journeymen, HVAC, people who keep the world actually running. Right, people like me facilitate the deal, and then those people actually make shit happen.
Right.
So I'm nothing without them. And so, anyway, that's the whole premise behind our organization: raise funds, create a unique networking opportunity, and man, we host a lot of events like this where we can get people out and enjoy their time, meet people, and create relationships. That's what it's all about.
Just a great networking event today. We had how many vendors here today cooking?
Did you guys have a total count today?
So we had over 250 show up. We had 19 or 20 cooking teams. Operator-wise, we had 21 operators, 22 operators show up from different operators from upstream to midstream. So yeah, I mean, I think it was a very successful first-time cook-off event for us.
Who won?
Oh, that one. So we had a winner in the ribs, the chicken.
Oh,
the
multiple.
Yeah, we had multiple. So check back on my LinkedIn, Derrick Clark, Epic Site Solutions. I'm going to post the winners. Off the top of my head, I would be lying to you if I said I remembered everybody's name right now.
I heard people come in and say, oh, I got second place in this, and I got, third place in this, but I don't know the exact results, but yeah, check out Derrick's profile for the exact results.
I will be posting them up because...
How do you spell your name so people can find your LinkedIn profile?
I spell it like an oil derrick. Ironically, I was built for this area. It's Derrick.
That's really funny, actually. I never
And
put
Clark
that together.
is...
Clark, Clark. So yes, built for oil field. Mom and Dad had a plan for me years ago. I never knew I would end up here, but they did, I guess.
Were you actually named after an oil derrick?
I was not.
Okay, I was going to say that would be just
what
unbelievable.
I do for a living, if anybody asks, yes, I was.
Wait, what do you mean? You were built for this industry?
I do think I was built for the oil field. It's a unique industry, right? All of us sitting here can attest to that, but work hard, play hard, right? That's the Crude life motto, I believe. So it holds true in the Permian Basin. I've been out here almost 7 years, and I've met some phenomenal people. I've worked very hard. I've played very hard, and it's been a hell of a ride.
Married?
I got married 3 months ago.
Congratulations!
Yeah. I waited. I'm 30. I found the right one finally.
That gonna put up with you?
Yeah. Well, she pulled me out of a wild lifestyle, being a Permian Basin sales.
Centered you.
Yes.
Nice.
Absolutely centered me, and I'll be the first to admit that. So
apparently, there's a lot of break-ins in the parking lot right now.
We have a parking lot crisis right now.
Cars just going
Excuse
off.
the parking lot background noise, but you know what? We play hard, like I
I was
said.
gonna say.
Assalama, we're out here, man.
There's a few people working hard out there right now.
Yeah, no, it's been a great day. I've really enjoyed it. The weather was great. We're a little sunburnt, which is nice, right?
No,
Did you have a favorite meal, by the way?
Oh man, I'm a large guy, right? So I eat quite a bit. It's hard not to have a favorite. But my buddy Preston over at Midland Safety, he had a smoked macaroni and cheese dish with brisket that I've never had before. And I'll tell you what, he had jalapenos, onions, and barbecue sauce in there. That was pretty top notch. I would say that was probably one of my favorites.
So it was a side dish?
It was technically a side
a side dish, yeah. And there was a category for side dishes?
There was. Well, we had a specialty category, yes,
Okay.
ma'am. And he didn't win. I was very upset.
Oh, what?
The Bodine balls must have won.
Well, actually, they did. The boudin balls were
I was
damn
going to
good.
say those were a great idea. The presentation was it was a finger food.
Oh, it was great.
Not finger food, palm food, because it was big enough like a baseball.
Oh, it was delicious. No, it was. We had some really great food out here.
Yeah,
I spent all
it
day
smelled
eating.
so good all day, and little Freckleberry Hound was just sniffing around
But
all day.
I want to say thank you real quick while we got the time for y'all to come out here. This was a great event. Y'all been supporting us from day one with it. For weeks and weeks, we've been talking about this event with Mr. Jason here. And,
I've been promoting it because I feel like it's such an important event, not only for the scholarship fund that you all do, but as far as the Permian Basin folks getting together and having events outside. Texas is opening up. We're ready to get outside and start mingling again. And
for the record, we were safe. There was, I guess, some
very
social
safe.
distancing.
Very safe. No, we're all outside.
We're outside. It was all good. We did it safely, right? We followed all the protocols needed, but I agree with you, Ms. Shawn. I think everybody was ready to get back out there, hang out with each other, shake some hands. But no, it was great to have y'all come all the way down here from Colorado and from North Dakota. I don't know how long of a drive that is, but I know it's not right down the road, so.
It takes a little while, yeah. I mean, luckily there's Oklahoma City and Tulsa along the way.
Right.
And I don't know if you knew this, but Kansas even has oil and gas activity.
Honestly, I've never ventured out to the Midwest, but that's good to know.
A little bit, so there's a few stops along the way, and I appreciate the invite and everything. And what's next for you guys? The Permian Basin Association of Pipeliners. You guys have another event? Are you going to get active with any sort of advocacy? Just talk about what's next after this event. What are you guys doing?
So we're always pushing to support oil and gas, right? As you are. That's why we want to align with you and continue our relationship. It's important to get that voice out there, let people know what we're doing, right? And but yes, we've got a golf tournament coming up, a clay shoot coming up.
When are those? Do you have dates in mind?
So I don't have the firm dates. I know.
Stop quizzing them. Come on.
I know she's putting me on the spot here. June will be our golf tournament, our second quarter event.
Okay.
Third quarter will be our. Third quarter event will be.
Spot, you got a win right here.
The team roping event will be third quarter. So, each quarter we do a big event like this.
Yeah.
So our goal is to do 4 major events every year, along with our Christmas party, and then we'll do, monthly meetings.
Well, be sure to advertise these events on ogdirectory.com. If you click on events, I advertise all oil and gas events.
So we will make
across the U.S.
So if you don't
keep
know
an eye
about
out.
Miss Shawn, I'll tell you right now, wizard in the sales world. I'm a sales guy. I've been for a long time. I'll never claim I've learned everything because you can always learn, and I learned a lot from her today.
I'm no salesperson. I'm a purchasing guy.
Right, and that's why us salespeople need to learn from her, right? That's who we sell to. We're not good unless anybody purchases. So,
yep,
it's a different perspective. Make sure you follow her page.
Thank you.
Make sure, and go ahead and tell us on your page. How can we get in touch with you?
Teamforbes.com is my blog. It's called Hello Sales Tips from Procurement. So if you're in oil and gas sales and you're wondering why am I not doing well, I might have some tips for you. So check out my blog and I'll give you some advice on maybe a different approach to things.
Different
perspective, right? So Shawn at teamforbes.com. Or if you are an oil and gas service company and you want buyers to find you, create a profile on the ogdirectory.com. So you can reach me at Shawn at ogdirectory.com. But more importantly, Derrick, what company do you work for?
So I'm fortunate enough. I am self-employed at the moment. I work for multiple companies. I'm primarily in the equipment industry, right? So anything you need
equipment sales. What type of equipment?
Equipment rentals.
Okay.
So I'm heavy in midstream. I deal with a lot of pipeline, a lot of facility contractors, commercial contractors, heavy civil, anything that requires any type of machinery from a small light tower to a 100-ton crane. You can make one phone call and I got you covered in the Permian Basin.
That sounds great, but specifically, what types of equipment?
Well, the list is on and on. We've got skid steers, forklifts, man lifts, dozers, excavators, front end loaders, air compressors, generators, light
Probably
towers.
Easier to say what you don't do.
Yeah, I was going to say, really? And
we don't fix fishing poles.
Right.
Actually, you probably do because fishing is a whole different meaning.
I always tell companies, and this is maybe a public service announcement right here, but let's talk about not what. We are a customer service driven company, and we pride ourselves on meeting our customer needs. But tell me exactly what you do.
Surface rentals, and I set it up this way. I come from the equipment rental industry.
You work for Blue Line?
I did. I started
and you know my buddy Mark Lester?
Mark Lester, shout out to Lester.
Woo!
He
was the United Rentals guy, and now he's with Ahern
Phenomenal
Rentals.
mentor. I learned a wealth of knowledge from him. He understands the business and how it gets done, right?
He knows how to deal with customers.
Yes.
And also the business side.
Exactly. No, he was a great mentor. I've been very fortunate. I've had a lot of great mentors in my career with him, but he was definitely one of them. And but yeah, so I mean, more specifically, surface rentals. And I set it up this way because I've worked with project managers for years. I wanted to create a simple model to get your equipment, right? One phone call, one person. I take care of what you need, and that's it. I mean, that's the whole baseline. That's my whole sales approach. Simplicity. Everything else is complicated. Let's simplify what we can.
One-stop shop, and if you can't do it, you'll probably find someone who can.
And I can tell
That's the thing.
I can tell you this much: in the Permian Basin, if I don't supply it, I know a guy,
right,
or a gal, and I will. Yes, exactly.
That's what I found about those people that do like 60 to 70% of the stuff. They're like, just give me a call and we'll get it. Sean, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I love what Derrick just said. Derrick said, if I can't help you, I will send you to someone who can. And those are the people that I value the most in this industry because I need help, right?
Right.
And if I can rely on you for help, then I'm going to go to you every single time. Because you're not always about yourself. You're about like helping people and about what we all need.
Well, what I've learned in my career is, what do you want to call it? Maybe you call it karma. Call it whatever you want. But what goes around comes around. Help whoever you can. And at some point you will need help. I don't care who you are and what you do. We can always use an extra hand in whatever we do. And, creating that network of help is what it's all about.
It all comes around.
Exactly. So no.
Well, I would go a step further
with it.
And I would say that what I've found in my life is that customer service actually becomes a very important commodity.
Oh, yes.
That a lot of people do not give credit for because everybody does it, right? So everybody's got a customer service. But you know what? Who actually has good customer service?
People do customer
Who's
service,
got good
but it's not
sales?
right.
I love the way Ms. Shawn phrased it. And I hate to say this for all my salespeople, but it's fluff. We all have top-notch customer service. We all have this. We all have that, right?
All
it's the same
puff, no
pitch.
stuff.
Hey, there you go. It's all the same pitch, right?
You bet.
At the end of the day, who's going to answer their phone?
Who's going to be there?
Who's going to answer it at 9 o'clock at night whenever you have a new frac job that just popped up and you've got to load some equipment up by 6 a.m., right?
I need that pipe delivered right now.
Exactly. And especially in the oil field, we have unique hours.
Everything is last minute.
24/7, yes.
Everything is last minute because it takes a long time on the operator side to get a budget approved. And once that budget is approved, it's like, okay, go time. Like, everyone go. And so you have these suppliers and vendors on standby, and now it's just like, we need to go. And it's not any fault of our own. It's just the nature of our industry, right? So everyone has to be ready to go.
Hurry up and wait, right?
Hurry up and wait and hurry up and go.
Yes, exactly, right? You're always, you're waiting for the call, but then when you get the call, it's like
your ass is on fire.
Well, they did it yesterday.
It's like a 40-yard dash. Yeah. I'm out the gate, and we're moving ass, and we're getting shit done.
You better do it right, and you better do it quick.
I truly believe that customer service in the oil patch is going to be such a huge commodity going in the next couple of years because as we enter in this gig economy that we're going into, just the other night on DoorDash, okay, which is just like Uber Eats and all the other ones, we didn't get a couple entrees delivered, okay, but we paid for it. We paid the tip, we paid everything else, but at the end of the day, we had to go down and pick it up. So the whole idea behind us getting rid of takeout to have delivery, it didn't happen.
Right.
And when we called to try to figure out what happened, nobody would take accountability for it. So what I saw really quickly over the last couple of years, and this is just one of many examples, it just seems like those people that will rise up and be accountable, that's becoming a really, like, critical commodity going into the new oil and gas world because
it's always been critical.
Anybody can check the boxes, but who the F, who the heck, who the whatever can get out there, like you said, at 2 a.m., 9 p.m., after hours, because not everybody is Fred Flintstone sliding down the tail at 5 o'clock when the whistle blows.
Exactly.
So honestly, I do think that is going to be a commodity oil and gas companies do sought after. So good for you for focusing on the long-term play of customer service.
Well, and that's just.
I truly mean that. I do. I'm just passionate about that. Sorry.
No, I appreciate it, man. I come from a world where I started my customer service career working in restaurants.
Oh, then you understand it.
If you've been a server, you understand.
I was 16. I was a server since I was
lot.
all through college. And
I wanted to pass a law that said everybody who's going to be involved in the economy should wait tables for at least a month.
100%.
Or cook.
And that's where I. But it is, right? So it all falls in the same token, and accountability is huge. Absolutely. There's so many people who have the claim to fame, right? But who can say, you know what? And it's not even your fault. As the sales representative, most of the time when things go wrong, it's not your fault. But you have to put your hand up and say, we're responsible.
Right. Did we promise something?
Yes.
Did we over-exaggerate?
Right. Exactly.
How are we accountable for what the problem is?
And I'll tell you, any tip for any new sales rep in the game that I can give you as somebody who's done it for 6 years, when things go wrong, that's not a bad thing. That's your opportunity to show them how you respond to that. And by simply saying, we messed up, my company, who I might not have had anything to do with the fault, but I am the one who you called.
That's hard.
I have to answer that phone call, right? And I've had several bad phone calls, I'll be honest, right? Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I've had my ass chewed out.
Oh, man. I have a blog post called Excuses.
Right.
And it talks about exactly what you're saying here about, like, you're my sales rep. You're my account manager. You're my champion.
Right.
For managing the type of service that you're offering to my company. So, like, when you say something goes wrong, don't make excuses. Don't say, well, so-and-so messed up or so-and-so didn't show up on time.
Right.
You just say, we screwed up, but this is how we're going to fix it.
And
absolutely.
You come forward with a solution, and you just get it done. But, I mean, everyone knows that things happen.
Right. And I think it's a skill set to learn, because early in my career, I didn't want to feel like I was at fault, because sometimes it wasn't my fault, right? But I had to accept as.
But you have to just say, hey.
Yes.
We did this.
Well, I was the guy who came to you and said, my company's going to take care of you. And when they didn't, I'm the guy who has to come to you and say, you know what? We didn't take care of you, and that's on us. I'm going to take that ass chewing.
And this is what we're going to do to fix it.
At the end of the day, I prepare to have a solution for this problem, because that's all you care about at the end of the day.
Just got to get it done.
Exactly. So,
Derrick, how can people connect with you?
We
talked about LinkedIn. So, Derrick.
I was going to say LinkedIn. I'm all over it.
What's your phone number?
My phone number is 832-436-8898. That is a Houston area code. That's where I'm from, but I am in the Permian Basin. That's my home base. That's where I live, and that's where I operate. So,
are you tied to just the Permian Basin, or?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much that is where I do, the bulk of my business.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I've got contacts all over, really, the state of Texas, right? So I can help out somebody anywhere, but where I operate, where I'm truly valuable, is the Permian Basin.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you're not trying to stretch yourself too thin to say, I can go
but if I
anywhere,
know,
but this is my core strength right here is this area.
If I can connect, and I'm a huge LinkedIn advocate, and I know y'all are too as well. We use it. All of us right here use it daily. So I've got a wide network. I'll help wherever I can, but if I can really be valuable to you, it's probably going to be in the Permian Basin.
What's your email address?
So I'll give you the company one. It's Derrick, my DERRICK, at Epic Site Solutions. And you can find me LinkedIn, Facebook, phone. Call me, text me, email me, whatever.
He'll help you with your equipment rentals.
I'll help you with whatever you need, because you know what my philosophy is? I probably know a guy or girl who can help you with your problem. So that's the goal, right? I don't have to know everything. I just have to know everyone.
Right.
And that's the way I look at it.
No, if I know Derrick, he's a networking champion and helps everyone.
I like that. That's I'll take that.
You're a networking champion, and we all should be.
Right.
It's like as far as I'm concerned, the oil field is a family, and we all help each other
Right.
and get where we need to get.
And if you're not networking, I recommend you start today.
And I'm going to issue a challenge to you folks right now, and I appreciate you inviting Shawn and I down here to be a part of this. And you know that I'm an MC of the Bakken Barbecue. And there's rumblings right now with some of the West Texas girls here that they're going to go up to the Bakken and have a table and bring the Texas flavor up to the Bakken Barbecue to try to win the trophy. As to start a traveling trophy, if you will.
Okay.
I feel a healthy competition.
I didn't know that, but you know what?
So you start getting the team together, and I will make sure personally, if I got to write the check myself,
you guys represent. You need to represent.
Make sure that there is 1 or 2 Texas, Permian, Eagleford booths up in the Bakken Barbecue this year, because not only are we adding a vegetarian offer this year.
Okay.
Can you believe that? At a barbecue, we're going to offer. We're working with RDO. They supply potatoes to. They supply potatoes to McDonald's. So we're saying, dude, can you give us like a sack of potatoes so we can offer some baked potatoes to the hippie freaks like me? And they're like, absolutely. It took 3 years for me to get this by the committee. I finally got it by. This year we're going to do it. So we're going to offer some barbecue baked potatoes for the vegetarians. But I'm trying to get Colorado. I'm trying to get the Texas. I'm even going to try to get the Marcellus represented at the Bakken Barbecue this year. And if we got to be the United Nations of Shale Play USA, we'll be the frickin' United Nations of Shale Play USA.
Hey, you know what? I'll tell you this much. I haven't been to North Dakota, but give me an excuse to pack up the truck and my dogs, and we'll take a trip.
It's summertime. You don't need an excuse. It's God's country. During the winter, it's devil's country.
If you want to go to North Dakota, you go in the
I'll take a trip up
summertime.
there. And you know what? No offense to North Dakota, but I love my Texas barbecue.
Do you like to fish?
I like to do whatever gets me outside.
There's some good fishing in North Dakota in the
North
summertime.
Dakota's God's country. I agree with that.
All right, we got to pack up. The Texas Twister's coming, folks.
Yeah.
Game on, North Dakota. The Texas Barbecue's coming. Bakken Barbecue. The gauntlet has been thrown. Shawn Forbes, say goodbye.
Peace out.
Weird ways to come and go and they stay. I got weird ways to come and go and stay. It's a brand new day. I got something to say. I got weird ways to come and go and they stay. Well, it happened when I woke up this morning. Looked into my eyes and it told me what to say. Said you're not done dying if you're still alive. I came back with the reply. I said you're done, man, and you know why. You don't need wings to fly. You just need to open up your mind and find the steepest mountain to climb.
Interested in becoming a sponsor? Email studio@thecrudelife.com. The music heard on the Crude Life Morning Show, Play Hard, Work Hard, is by the Moody River Band. The Crude Life, Play Hard, Work Hard. It's sponsored in part by
Great American Mining monetizes wasted, stranded, and undervalued gas throughout the oil and gas industry by using it as a power generation source for Bitcoin mining. Great American Mining Company brings the market and their expertise to the molecule. Their solutions make producers more efficient and profitable while helping reduce flaring and venting throughout the oil and gas value chain. And if you're a mineral owner, check out how much Bitcoin you could be making right now with your valued gas. Go to GAM.ai. That's Great American Mining, GAM.ai.
The Crude Life, Play Hard, Work Hard, is sponsored in part by
Blackwater Environmental is a family-owned company with over 10 years of on-site industrial experience, offering inspections, consulting, coating failure analysis, specification writing, and coding application services, along with many other services for energy, oil, gas, and municipalities. Blackwater Environmental was started in Moorcraft, Wyoming, but has grown to a larger facility in Gillette, Wyoming, where they provide a better quality of service for their customers. For more information on Blackwater Environmental, check out their website, blackwaterenviro.com. That's blackwaterenviro.com.
The industrial forest.
It takes an industry to build a forest. Hey folks, Jason Spiess with the Crude Life. Did you know about half the trees planted in the last 20 to 30 years have died within the first year? Lack of watering, transplant shock, special interest groups, poor growing conditions are just a few reasons it takes an industry to build a forest, and that is exactly what the industrial forest does. Sustainability sheds, critical pipeline systems are implemented to ensure the forest survives and absorbs carbon for decades to come. It takes an industry to build a forest. If you're interested in sustainable forests, growing industry jobs, check out theindustrialforest.com. That's theindustrialforest.com.
Play hard, work hard. Now let's work hard.
This is Caleb Amick. I am not representing the press today. I'm just representing myself.
Thank you for joining me today. Yeah, it's important to point out, I guess you're not representing the Dickinson Press, even though you do write for them. But we do have a lot of journalists on. We have a lot of correspondents, a lot of different news bloggers and et cetera. So appreciate you coming on to kind of preview some stories and some things that are happening out in western North Dakota in the Basin. And we're going to talk about the salt spill that happened out in western North Dakota. So thank you for joining us today. And my guess is you're probably a little bit aware of that salt spill, huh?
Yeah, I went to it. Yeah, it came out of a session at DSU, out of a class that I went to for work.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about that. What was your experiences? What did you take away from it? Anything you're going to be, putting together for a story?
Well, the story's already together, but I just want to know more. I want to hear the other side of the story. The attorney, Fenton Dooley, said that he alleges in his report that the state has neglected reclaiming land in certain areas of North Dakota, leading to the leaching of salt water, which contaminates the land. And he alleges that this has been going on for 70 years.
And this is come into the legislative session or the Dickinson state. He's going around the state. I guess talk to me a little bit about how you came introduced to this.
My editor received a tip from Fenton Dooley. Fenton Dooley sent something in to us and to KYX, I believe, and the TV station or something like that. And just kind of was like, hey, we're doing a thing. We're going around the state talking about this, and we're stopping at DSU, so if you want to come. And so I went.
What type of reception was there? Dickinson is primarily oil and gas. It's on 94, so you got a little diversity of industry. But what kind of reception was given? And do you know who brought him in? Was it the Dickinson State who brought him in? Was it a private? Did Fenton Dooley pay for it himself? Do you know any of that information?
I know him and the president of DSU know each other, and I know that he was brought in for Professor Toby Stroh's reclamation class. He knows Toby.
Okay.
I think he's like a guest speaker for the class to talk about a reclamation-related issue.
What was his issue with reclamation? That it's the salt water, or that the operators aren't?
The salt water.
Okay.
The salt water.
But isn't that part of the reclamation or no?
The salt water is what contaminates and what damages the ground. Is what is alleged to have damaged the ground.
Who was there from the state?
No one was there from the state yet. They went to the capital of Bismarck, and they talked before a couple commissions and stuff like that, and then they just kind of were doing a tour, talking about it, trying to get people to start asking questions and things like that to kind of prod people. They want to kind of try to avoid litigation if possible, but they said if it continues and the state doesn't do anything, then they may pursue litigation.
Are they representing anybody?
Well, Donnie Nelson's one of the people he's representing. There's a few other farmers in North Dakota from all over North Dakota. Particularly, he talked a lot about Bottineau County.
Okay.
And I have a picture. Donnie Nelson handed me a report, this packet, when I got there. And I kid you not, on the back of that packet is an aerial picture of a stretch of land, a field that just looks like it's been shaved almost, or just looks like it's been eaten away. And a site of an abandoned oil well that wasn't properly plugged. And
Was that the one from 2014?
I have no idea. I don't have the packet with me right now.
Okay. Well, there was a spill for 1.6 million gallons back 6-7 years ago, and I know that image gets used a lot, and because it's awesome, it's incredible, it's picture 1,000 words type thing. So nobody from the Industrial Commission was there. Did he mention any sort of interactions he's having with the Industrial Commission? I mean, is he just kind of circling the wagons, or has he talked with anybody with the state? He is an attorney, so my guess is he's probably doing his proper due diligence and has his ducks in a row.
Certainly, yeah. I have. He's got several quotes from the Oil and Gas Division. He's got, I think, in this packet. I found the packet. He has got a couple quotes from them. He's got a scientific study in here about salt contamination. He's got some commission letters where they wrote to the Industrial Commission in 2013 to which Jack Dalrymple, the former governor, was the chair of. They have a letter here from the Industrial Commission of North Dakota dating December 31st, 2013. And things like that. So and it's signed by Carlene Fine. So yeah, he's been talking to the NDIC.
Anybody? Now you guys did a story, right?
Yep.
Okay. Did you do the story or did someone else?
I did.
You did the story. Okay. Now I'm not going to be. I was a former editor and a publisher, so I apologize if I act like I'm, nitpicking or anything like that. I'm just going to ask some questions here. Did you call anybody from the state, land management, industrial commission, anything along those lines for the story?
Yeah, I tried. But I kept getting answering machines.
And nobody responded back, I imagine.
Nope.
Yeah, we're having the same luck with when we try to do our news sources with the state. We don't get anything back either. Or, we found too, anybody who's got a contract with the state, they don't want to talk either.
Yeah, and some of the oil companies don't want to talk either. Like, I was going to do a tour of McGradient's new quote-unquote green field just to take pictures and talk to them about what they're up to lately and things like that. And I've called numerous times and I've gotten the same voicemail.
No calls. Go ahead.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's hard for me to fault private companies. Private companies are, it's a kind of a, they don't have to, The government, there's actually people paid. There's actually tax dollars that go to specific people to talk to reporters and talk to the media and talk to the press. That's their full-time job. They don't they don't have any other job. That's their job. So when I hear from multiple news sources of multiple industries of multiple sides that the state of North Dakota is just ghosting and blowing off reporters everywhere except for a certain couple that they know will report whatever they say, it kind of pisses me off a little bit. How about Lynn Helms? Is his people coming back? I mean, this has got to be on him a little bit too, right?
He knows Lynn Helms. He talked about him. Fenton talked about him. He has written Mr. Helms. He has a letter at the beginning of this. It says, "Dear Commissioner Mr. Helms," and he specifies all the needs and things like that. And he sent it to Mr. Helms. So yes, he does have he does give Helms some of the responsibility for this.
Do we know if there's any? Did this Dickinson State pay for him to come? Did they comp his room? Did they charge him? Do we know anything like that? I mean,
I have no idea. I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of getting into the details a little bit, but some of that stuff, if it's long format type of a timeline, that stuff can actually be kind of important. Devil's in the details, if you will. Because sometimes I know when I speak, they charge me. So, I mean, if other people are getting access and things like that, that's state, once again, picking winners and losers, who they decide can and who they can't. And if this guy's a buddy of the president of the Dickinson State, well, that's just flat out grafting. There was a movie called Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, which is all about the government using access as currency. And so I'm a little bit sensitive to that. Okay, so Bureau of Land Management hasn't commented back, and this guy's directly going at them, right?
I believe so, but he specifically addresses, a lot of the time, he addresses the NDIC.
North Dakota Industrial Commission.
Because his whole thesis is this, that North Dakota's laws, if enforced, would require oil companies to do a full reclamation of the land and to make sure that those holes are properly plugged and so on.
Well, I guess I didn't realize they weren't doing that.
And he's alleging that they're not doing it properly.
Okay.
And that even after they do it, quote unquote, that they just do the topsoil or just do one layer and don't do the full job. There's still salt water leaching out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of this, to be honest. I've seen this pop up, and I know the New York Times did a story, back in 14 or 15, and it popped up in there, and it's come up from time to time. But this is the first time I've heard of any sort of activist group or any sort of, organized effort, if you will, for this type of issue, I guess it would be. Doug Goring, Governor Burgum, and who's the other one? Who's the other guy that sits on the Industrial Commission? Wayne Stenjum. So we got the Attorney General, North Dakota Industrial Ag Commissioner, and then the Governor. That makes up the Industrial Commission. It's the three-headed monster. Did any of them respond back, or are they a part of this, or anything?
They weren't a part of the story yet. I was just reporting the event and just reporting what was in the packet and just reporting what I recorded at the event.
Okay.
The presentation. But I'm thinking of doing a little bit more of an investigative piece, just kind of asking for a little bit more information.
That's got to be hard for you, huh? To be a reporter when you want to be a journalist, or vice versa, because people don't understand is that a reporter, that's a specific job. You're there just to report. You're not there to do too much else, and you can only do the best you can in a certain amount of time, and this and that. And my background is magazine journalism, so we had time and layers, and we had to prove a point and keep people's interests and all this other stuff. So I bet that gets a little bit frustrating at times. It did for me anyways, on the opposite side, where I wanted to be in the reporter game to try to get involved with that, because it happens all the time and you get to be part of the action. Whereas, when you start getting into that long format stuff, it's not the same. So anyway, I don't know if I made any sense to you or not there, but.
Yeah.
So, okay, man. Did you talk to him at all? Dooley, he's the actual guy involved with the sort of the public, right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't call him and interview him, but I asked some questions at the event and things like that. And I have a recording of his lecture and stuff like that.
Did anybody show up?
Yeah, it was a full class. People showed up as part of the class, and the DSU president showed up for a little bit, and yeah, it was pretty full. It was a small room, but it was pretty full.
Oh, he was a speaker at the class.
Yeah, he was pretty much the teacher for the day.
Oh, I thought it was like the colleges will bring in a speaker and that sort of stuff, or some cultural thing, or campus politics or whatever it is. So, okay. Was it well received? Was there anybody, angry or given, shooting dagger eyes, or did he get, people clap or anything like that? Or
I mean, he made pretty clear that he wasn't anti-oil. He was just doing it irresponsibly and not plugging up not taking care of business. That's what he was against.
Mm-hmm.
And so he made that pretty clear. He said there are companies that very much do it right. He very much praised Marathon Oil for doing a thorough job reclaiming land and making sure that farmers are taken care of and things like that. And so, I mean, I think that put a lot of people at ease, and a lot of the people are just grew up on farms and haven't really messed with oil, at least from what I could tell.
So if I'm hearing you right, I guess one of the issues is that they're alleging that the state is not enforcing the operators to do enough or have enough information supplied to satisfy a certain party. And secondly, this, what's his name? Fit and Dooley? Fit and Dooley? Is alleging that there's like some secondary spilling going on that is leaching into the water. So is that right? Is kind of a two-prong approach, better recording by the state, and also there's currently a problem with leaching. Am I hearing this right?
Yeah, and about the cleanup and stuff, he says, quote, "There is little or no data recorded by the commission on the average cost of cleanup of those same spills due to lack of data on remediation costs. Those costs ought to be declared under oath by a qualified third party engaged to oversee each well closure." So he's alleging that there's little to no data even about the cost of cleaning up. We just know it's expensive. And he kind of alleged that that's being used as kind of an excuse to not do a thorough job.
Was there anybody from oil and gas companies representing?
Not there, no. It was just his talk, his presentation.
Okay. Interesting. Wow. Well, more to come on that. Yeah, I'd like to stay on that a little bit.
Okay.
Keep focused. So, any other stories you got to preview? Anything else that you might be working on or that you've recently done?
I just recently did a story about a small town of about 250 maybe, possibly plugging into a water tower.
Really?
Yeah.
Where at?
Taylor. Taylor may be plugging into a water tower, but they're still in the proposal stage, and it's kind of up in the air right now. They're just kind of seeing what all their options are. But yeah, they were discussing that and some of the legal ramifications of that.
Do they have a well now, I guess? Where do they get water from now?
I forgot, but I know that they are planning on getting, if they do decide to hook up to the water tower, and that's a big if, then they'll run like a valve or something like that down into the city limits and use that.
I see. So they've already got a municipal water system. It's just putting in a tower for backup or just whatever, just for additional water supply.
And if they did decide to do it, once again, that's an if, they would be sharing it with like 4 or 5 other towns. And the report from the engineers said they may have to expand it by 15% should Taylor decide to join.
Is the Western Area Water Supply involved?
It is Southwest Water Authority.
Southwest Water Authority? Okay.
Yeah.
Are they going to then turn around and sell water to the oil companies?
I have no idea. It wasn't about that story particularly wasn't about oil.
Okay. No, I know, but that's actually what some cities have been doing, is selling water to oil companies and competing with the private water companies. So that's just something keep in mind. That it's happening out there. That these cities are putting in municipal water systems because the numbers work, so they can go get business from the oil companies. And then what happens is that the mom and pop shops that have water companies, they get put out of business because you can't compete with the government. Government will put you out of business all day long. What, are you going to outspend the government? Good luck. So, yeah, keep an eye on that stuff. Yeah, nobody talks about that. They don't talk about that at all, but the people losing their businesses do. Absolutely. fact, down in Texas here where I'm at, we're doing the interview right now. You're in Dickinson. I'm down in Midland, Texas. People with water rights down here, actually, some of them stopped farming because they were getting more money selling their water rights to the oil companies. So the oil companies will come in, put a pump in. The farmer will just kind of, all of a sudden, he's in the water business now. Instead of going through all the risk of planting crops and overseeing them and keeping beetles and flies away and all that other stuff and going through the whole thing. There's 9 to 5 water business now. Hire a couple employees and be done. So keep an eye on that if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, water rights in North Dakota. That's interesting to me.
Yeah, and in fact, they might not care out there. So maybe it's no story. It was a few years ago. There was a lot of people that were really upset about Southwest Water and the Western Area Water Supply coming in and just monopolizing it. And because it's a government entity at the end of the day, but it's appointed and there's really no real oversight over them, so they can kind of do whatever they want. There's kind of an appointed board and appointed executives and et cetera. So it's one of those gray, shadowy, you never hear about them, but they have so much power companies. So it's just, oh yeah, I mean, yeah, we anyways, but I better shut up. Otherwise I might get a horse head in my bed. So, okay. Good stuff, man. So how can people get in touch with you? And are you social media? Do you do that with your stuff?
Not yet, but I'm thinking of doing that just so that way people can reach out to me or anything like that. But if they have any tips or story ideas within the Southwest North Dakota area, within say Stark County is probably my limit, or maybe even Hettinger County, they can reach me at my email, which is all lowercase CAMICK at thedickinsonpress.com. They can reach me there.
Exclusive interview, industry news, environmental innovation at thecrudelife.com. Music heard on the Crude Life Morning Show, Play Hard, Work Hard, is by the Moody River Band.
Back to the way. Oh, back to the way. So back to the way. Oh, back to the ways. Back to the ways. Oh, back to the way.
The Crude Life with Jason Spiess.
Thank you for joining the program today.
You know, I come from an oil background. My family's been in the oil and gas industry for 60 years.
I think the thing with the younger generation is the younger generation has pretty much bought into the climate change phenomena. They really believe everything that people tell them.
We just want to thank everybody that has been so supportive of us, and especially you, Jason. Without your help, I don't think our event would be as successful as it is.
So I don't want to be real critical of them, because being a guy who's, dad has several small businesses and coming from that sort of small business background, I get it. I mean, the operators here were put in a real bad position by the state of North Dakota.
I'm glad that we've got people like you to pay attention and bring us information on stuff like this.
Prices can't go any lower for services. They're too low right now. Our margins are in the single percentage point if we're lucky, and we're not lucky that often.
You're exactly right. ESG is becoming more and more important to shareholders. I can speak for my 20 companies. They take it very serious.
It makes perfect sense, and I thought you had a really good show last week.
Jason, I love your inquisitive questions, because you ask important questions that lead to the most important truths.
Hey, this is Kevin Kramer, representing proudly the state of North Dakota, United States Senate. Talking to Jason Spiess, who's like the best energy interviewer in the world.
No one does an interview like Jason Spiess.
We all like living the crude life, so.
The Crude Life with host Jason Spiess.
My name is Jason Spiess, and this is the Crude Life Daily Update. On today's episode, we talk about Women's History Month. Every March since 1987, Congress and U.S. presidents have designated this month as Women's History Month. This year, the Crude Life celebrates and honors their accomplishments and vital contributions in history with interviews and stories that center around women's experiences in industry. These women are not only modern-day leaders, but they are truly historic as well. Today, we talk with Trisha Curtis with PetroNerds.
I'm actually third generation oil and gas. So technically my grandfather was pumped oil wells, mostly around Wyoming. And my dad also pumped oil wells around Wyoming and Southwest Colorado. And I sort of straddled the border of Colorado and Wyoming growing up. And I guess it was sort of in my blood. But then I went to school in Denver at Regis University for my undergrad and doubled in politics and economics. And then I went to London School of Economics, and I was always with economics and international relations and politics. I was always really interested in oil because it just didn't fit nicely with supply and demand, and it moved. Prices moved and supply moved, and so I was super fascinated about it and kind of knew I wanted to work into it or work with it, and studied Russia and China and things like that, and was always interested in the oil side. And then got out of grad school and just was sure I wanted to work within energy, and particularly within oil if I could. And it was just a really tough time with a recession, and it was 2010 and very high unemployment, very hard to get a job. So I ended up buying one-way ticket to DC and cold calling a bunch of energy organizations till I found the nonprofit that I ended up with, which was called the Energy Policy Research Foundation. And that's really where I was very fortunate to learn a ton and cut my teeth on everything. Sort of the U.S. unconventional oil boom was just happening, everything shale, the Bakken, and the oil sands and pipelines, and sort of was able to really self-teach myself a lot of stuff and figure out that I was good at presenting and speak with a lot of folks. And just it was a huge blessing in terms of being able to just learn an immense amount about the industry and find out that I was extremely passionate about it.
And that was Trisha Curtis, the CEO of PetroNerds. To check out the full-length interview and other exclusive interviews, visit thecrudelife.com. Please join us all month long as we celebrate Women's History Month here at The Crude Life. From the staff here at The Crude Life Week in Review, my name is Jason Spiess, asking you to always remember, energy is more than an industry, it's a way of life.
The Crude Life is sponsored in part by...
It takes an industry to build a forest. Hey folks, Jason Spiess with The Crude Life. Did you know about half the trees planted in the last 20 to 30 years have died within the first year? Lack of watering, transplant shock, special interest groups, poor growing conditions are just a few reasons it takes an industry to build a forest, and that is exactly what the industrial forest does. Sustainability sheds, critical pipeline systems are implemented to ensure the forest survives and absorbs carbon for decades to come. It takes an industry to build a forest. If you're interested in sustainable forests, growing industry jobs, check out theindustrialforest.com. That's theindustrialforest.com.
The music heard on the Crude Life Morning Show, Play Hard, Work Hard, is by the Moody River Band. Interested in becoming a sponsor? Email studio@thecrudelife.com.